smoothly. After going through the registration process, you will come before the Presidential Registration Officer, who is also the IEBC Chairperson, Mr. Wafula Chebukati. Thank you and feel most appreciated.
All right, so that's just the IEBC going through the documentation there brought by the Azimio One Kenya coalition presidential aspirant Raila Odinga. The process has just commenced at this point. The presidential returning officer, Wafula Chebukati, should be there and will be continuing to take a look and monitor the situation there. Quite an elaborate and thorough process in this. And of course, if the aspirant satisfies the requirement as set in law by, well, I would give it about an hour or so as we consider how we've seen the other documentation and registration processes with the other candidates. He should be cleared to participate in the election and officially a candidate for the Azimio coalition political party. Remember, he is the fifth set to continue with this process. And of course, if he gets a green light, that will be happening. Before him was the Deputy President, William Ruto, who also got the green light and got cleared by the IEBC yesterday. Before him was also Walter Mongare from the Umoja Summit, Roots Party's Professor George Wajakoyo, and Agano Party candidate David More Wahiga. And, you know, very interestingly, we've seen the Wiper leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, who's come in support of this. Remember, he also made public his support of the Azimio One Kenya coalition presidential aspirant together with his running mate, Martha Karua. And we've seen him changing the position several times in the recent days to this point. Maybe just, and I'll begin with you, Vincent. So just quickly, your view and from where you stand, Kalonzo Musyoka's return to Azimio, what are the stakes here? People would assume that or look at it in a way that this would flip the numbers that perhaps were undecided because of the flipping in position of Kalonzo Musyoka in favor of Raila Odinga. And remember, looking at that vote basket, quite a big chunk of the demographic, about 1.6 million votes, I believe. What do you say on that?
You know, Zainab, even whereas it is important to appreciate that our democracy has progressed and our issues are increasingly taking center stage and all that, our political mobilization still is ethnic. Let no one lie to you.
Right.
So you cannot underestimate the movement by the political players. Right. If you look at Kalonzo Musyoka, his political base is mainly in the Lower Eastern region. If you look at even the governors, the three governors who previously were before the Machakos governor moved to Kenya Kwanza, the posture was that whereas they were all of them in Azimio, but they were looking for the regional, or called the person whose wave or direction actually has significant sway within the region. So I would be able to say that when you are running for president at this point, all support is required. So the movement by the former Vice President Kalonzo and that posturing that led to this position is a plus to the side that he has gone. And that's something, for example, Kenya Kwanza has to develop a strategy to deal with or to mitigate moving into the election. Because if you want to say that, does it have any impact or not, assuming, for example, Kalonzo moved to Kenya Kwanza, the truth of the matter is that that would have had a difference. So for me, I would say that, and even the way he went about this, he knew that he has a value in the political space, and he has made the most out of it. And I'm sure I can only depend on the evidence that, and the issues that were put on the media, so whether it was right or wrong, but at least I've given my source, that he has gotten a deal out of this process. And that deal ensures that he moves into this election and makes the most out of the process. But it's because he has a base. If you don't have a base in this election, you don't have the weight to be able to play at the national level. I'll be able to also say something, if you'd permit me, that if you look at our elections, increasingly we are moving into a two-faced kind of election, where the US, you'll be able to say Democrats versus the Republicans. In the UK, Conservatives versus Labour. That is how this election is forming. And you can see it from 2002, where you had the opposition on one side, together with the KANU on one side. Then in 2007, clearly, the two luminaries, then President Kibaki and Raila Odinga. The same thing to 2013, 2017. So it tells you very clearly that if you don't form a very clear coalition, look, we are even discussing in this, if you notice the conversation is centered around yesterday's presidential candidate, that is Kenya Kwanza and Azimio's. And sorry for the other presidential candidates who were cleared. I think by now you said 4 of them have been cleared. But the limelight, the latitude will be carried by the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza.
Dennis, you know, your thoughts as well on Kalonzo Musyoka's support back to, you know, returning to the Azimio One Kenya coalition political party. Do you perhaps see this sort of complicating Deputy President William Ruto's arithmetic to State House?
Allow me to conclude on the 3G coverage for 30 seconds and say, you know, the principle upon which the nullification of the presidential petition was premised on was that about 11,500 polling stations were out of network. So, and currently, when Chebukati sat with JLAC, Chebukati said, and this is verbatim, he said that he's not aware of how many polling stations are out of network. And that alone is a very worrying sentiment from the chairman of an independent institution. And one of the things that they need to do is Chebukati needs to tell us precisely, together with the regulator, that regulator who is saying that, you know, they are throwing reckless statements on air, they need to tell us how many polling stations are out of coverage and what measures are being done to ensure that they are in coverage. Because we must learn from 2017. You know, we must learn that the nullification was premised on that. Coming back to the optics that you said yesterday, and I didn't comment on that, in terms of, you know, when His Excellency William Ruto showed up with 2 hustlers, he showed up again, not entirely as a UDA presidential candidate. His Excellency Mudavadi was there, Wetangula was there, all the other principles of the Kenya Kwanza, whatever was there, you know, the Kenya Kwanza coalition was there. And his candidature, UDA is leading, yes, but his candidature is for the entire coalition. It's not just for UDA. But based on the law, and you know the coalition's party law and whatever it is that there is, you can either go as a single party or a coalition. I think Raila is the only one who's going into a coalition. And of course, Azimio is a complex dynamics that we can't start to talk about it now, based on the agreements, that position agreements that were based on their concept on BBI and many other things. But coming to Kalonzo, is a long story of a love gone sour, a love gone back. It's probably been one of the most exhausting political stories that Kenyans have ever been taken through. We don't even know, maybe Kalonzo may leave tomorrow, who knows. But let us look at numbers. In 2007, Kalonzo vied as a presidential candidate. the strongest that he has ever been, and he delivered about 800,000 votes. So when we say he has 1.6 million, I don't know where we have got that data from. He has never demonstrated that data anywhere. And then in 2013 and in 2017, Kalonzo's promise was that he was going to be the deputy president. And that is what his base has consistently been waiting for. And in 2022, his promise was that Raila was going to back him as a presidential candidate. And of course, we didn't see that. You remember the progression between CORD and NASA, the whole of that story. One of the greatest players you cannot miss there on in and out, the concept of watermelon, whatever it is that there is Kalonzo Musyoka. And therefore, his base, number one, is wounded. Kamba itself, when you look at the Kamba vote, it's fragmented in many other ways because they are not consolidated as one as they were before. When you look at the current governor of Machakos, he's in Kenya Kwanza. When you look at likes of the governor of Makueni, again, he doesn't even want to be seen within any other coalition. But the base itself is fragmented, and every other coalition has its strongmen on the ground. So I don't think Kalonzo has the ability to deliver the entirety of the vote for Azimio. I don't think he has that capacity anymore, and I think he has lost quite a considerable ground. In Azimio itself, you are finding superiority fights between himself and Governor Ngilu. One of them wants to be seen as though they are the ones that are bringing the Kamba vote, into the Azimio basket. But I hardly think that Kalonzo, for the entire of the Kamba region, especially even where he comes from, would have the ability to even deliver a 40% for Azimio, frankly speaking, based on the numbers that we can articulate.
Martin,
I don't think that he has that
even as you weigh in
ability.
on this matter, in the 2013 election, in the 2017 election, what we'd seen is Kalonzo Musyoka in support of Raila Odinga easily brought in about, from my own estimation, about 80% of the votes in the Ukambani region. So this is quite substantive. But we're having, issues and from Dennis's remarks that Kalonzo might have, lost part of his influence in the region. Does this in any way change the support base that Raila Odinga enjoys in that region?
You see, it depends on how you see it and where you want to look at. And I get very interested when fellow intellectuals engage in partisan or in, sided politics. The other day when Kalonzo was struggling to make, the other side was actually saying how he's so important, he's being mistreated. And they were busy wooing him on the other side. When eventually he now decides to remain in Azimio, he says, Kalonzo will not make any impact and so on. So that is our level of politics, and that's fine. Basically what I would like to say is that Kalonzo has a following. Ukambani, and again, Vincent, I couldn't agree with you more. We are in a political climate where our politics is ethnic. I mean, people come with the ethnic base. The reason why Ruto is strong today is because he has a strong ethnic base that he's mobilizing, essentially the Kalenjin base. The reason why Raila is strong today, he has an ethnic base which he mobilizes. The reason why people like Musali are having trouble is that they cannot mobilize their base. For Kalonzo, he has consistently mobilized his base, the Ukambani base, and that is something that you can't take away from him. The decision for him to go back to Azimio helps him to stay relevant, particularly to his political future, and also gives hope to his supporters, and therefore they find a place to go to. They are not feeling orphaned. Has the ground in Ukambani shifted a little bit? Definitely has shifted. I think there is a sense in which the Deputy President, William Ruto, has eaten into some of that base through people like Mudama and through his own narrative that he has pushed. So is the political base in Ukambani as strong as it was when, 2017, when Raila and Ruto, and Kalonzo were together? Perhaps something could be seen there in terms of shift. But overall, have there been shifts across? Yes. Raila is eating into Central. Did he have that before? No. Ruto is eating into Central because over Jubilee and so on, so he's strong in that area, no doubt about it. Are there shifts in Coast? Are there shifts in Nyanza? Perhaps those are areas to look at. But obviously, again, we've said it here, that we are looking at a nearly two-horse race, and it's being defined by people's ethnic blocks. Indeed, coalitions are coming in as blocks, so that you're promising people either a percentage of this or the other for your people, for infrastructure, for your people. So whether you're in Azimio or you are in Kenya Kwanza, people have gone there with their knives ready, and their ethnic knives ready to chop their piece as they have been promised, depending on what they deliver on that table. Yeah. So that's the nature of our politics. So you can't wish away Kalonzo. He's a serious player. Does he have personal challenges? Definitely he has personal, especially on the road towards his decision making over the last couple of months. He has.
Would you say that because this time he's not jointly on the presidential ticket with Raila Odinga, perhaps this has worked against him in terms of the influence he commands? Not
really. I think that what you're seeing is that you have a bigger chunk of Ukambani with Raila than before, where there is Kivuda Kibwana, you have Ngilu,
but you had Alfred Mutua, who shifted.
No, Alfred Mutua does have some numbers. Let's not rule him out. But does his shift really represent an earthquake in the Ukambani politics? That's something that I can say time will tell, but certainly it is not. I mean, Alfred didn't go there to negotiate for Kambas. He went there to negotiate for his own
Let's get
position.
from Vincent.
From what I know, I don't know what Dennis knows.
No, Martin, I will hold you accountable. Eh? You had raised the bar. That let's leave it at the analysis level. I'm really requesting we keep it at that.
Yeah.
Because when we go to that level of, as in, I think the message is passed. Yeah. I'm humbly requesting my two colleagues, because the point is, one of the things is we are in a political situation, and the challenge is up with politics. Remember I said the minds and the hearts. The hearts issue is where now anything that goes, and it becomes even a challenge, even for journalists, the ability to really maintain that middle ground that helps take the process to the next level. I would want to say that, and this is what my posture, that, and Zainab, you can hold me accountable too. The truth of the matter is that we are not voting for angels. These are human beings. And I can say this authoritatively. I wish, I know there is a more important political event that does not allow me to be on the screen at this point. But Zainab, remember this, that in the event Kenya Kwanza clinches the presidency, there will be mistakes, there will be challenges. There will also be good things. The same thing also to Azimio. Because when we appreciate that situation, let me tell you, the emotions will come down, and people will start focusing on, therefore, what are the substantial issues. Why am I saying this? Every election has what you call the organizing question. In 1992, the organizing question was multipartism. In 1997, it was the issue of the IPPG. In the year 2002, it was about the transition of the after 40 years of KANU. In the year 2007, it was the 42 against 1. It's good to say it with all the courage. 2013 ICC, 2017 the electoral process. In 2022, the organizing question for this election, Zainab, is the economy. And anyone who is going to get that conversation narrative right around the economics is going to get it. You remember in 1992, Bill Clinton told Americans, remember they were just in the Gulf War. He said it is the economy, stupid. And those who got it, and he was able to ensure that George Bush was a one-term president. So in my view, we cannot run away from that reality. So I look forward to us really ventilating. I'm happy I've heard that Kenya Kwanza is going to be launching their manifesto. Also, Azimio will be launching their manifesto.
That
then we
tomorrow.
can have that conversation, because an election, in my view, is usually a competition between two sides on who is best to manage our taxes. Because the truth of the matter is that if Raila emerges president, it is our taxes he will use to prosecute the agenda. If William Ruto emerges president, it is our taxes that he will use to do what? To prosecute the agenda. They are not coming with their own money. It is our taxes that they will use. So I appeal to Kenyans. Let us listen to them very well. Let us thoroughly analyze them. These two gentlemen are looking for a job. And the job is to become the CEO of this country. And the person who has the best CV, let that person carry the day. That, for me, is basically what this election is all about.
Right. Dennis, I know you had different thoughts in terms of, Kalonzo's position in Azimio. Do you still hold that thought?
Absolutely. And
yes.
One of the things that I did, I painted Kalonzo's painful journey.
Just hold on to that thought. The Presidential Returning Officer, IEBC, and also the chairperson is speaking. Let's just listen into a full
application for registration for presidential election from Raila Odinga and Mother Wangari. The documentations are in order. And I approve the nomination of Raila Odinga as a presidential candidate for the elections slated for 9th August 2022.